Hello students. Today I am again with you with revision of chapter 2 nutrition in animals. In last chapter we discussed about nutrition in plants. In this chapter we will discuss how nutrition occur in different types of organisms including human beings. In this chapter I have no need to explain the term nutrition again because already you are aware, but again I am reminding you nutrition is a long process in which the organism will intake the food will get digested, after digestion absorption of food will occur and then it will be utilized by the body of the organism. This whole process is called nutrition. Now nutrition occur in different organisms in different manners, but basically there are 5 steps for the process of nutrition as you can see in this page. Now on this page the different steps of nutrition are written. First is ingestion. Ingestion means intake of food, and this process is also occurred in different organisms in different manners. For example, we are human beings and we swallow the food. But if you have ever observed any lizard, it will take the help of its sticky tongue to capture the insects. Frog also uses its sticky tongue, as on this page you are seeing. While if we talk about unicellular organism amoeba, it will take the help of its false feet known as pseudopodia to capture its prey. It will ingest that in this manner. Now some like blood sucking insect like mosquitoes etc, and fruit nectar flower like butterfly etc, those will suck the nectar of these flowers. They will use a special tube, sucking tube, that is called proboscis for intaking the food. In this manner ingestion of food occur in different methods, and they use the different modes or manners to take the food. Now second process is digestion. As we intake the food, digestion start in our mouth only and it will complete in small intestine. So in our mouth different glands are there. These are known as salivary glands, and they will secrete the digestive juices and digestion starts in the mouth. Second is absorption. After completion of the digestion process, the nutrients will be absorbed in the blood. Then assimilation. These nutrients will be utilized by the organism of the body. This is called assimilation. Now when digestion process has been completed, assimilation is completed, but there is some part of the food which is not digested, that is called undigested food. It has to be excrete out from the body, otherwise it can be poisonous to our body. So the process of excreting out the undigested food matter, that is called fecal matter, is called egestion. Egestion is also of different manners in different organisms. Now we will discuss the human digestive system in detail. As in this picture you can see that the picture of internal parts of human digestive system are shown here. But before explaining this system, I want to clear you what is the actual difference between digestive system and digestive tract. The another name for digestive tract is alimentary canal. This can also be seen here in this paragraph. Digestive system means this digestive tract plus associated glands, while digestive tract is the food pipe or alimentary canal. It starts from mouth up to anus. This is called digestive tract. So here we are discussing digestive system, that means not only alimentary canal but also the associated gland with it. And what are these associated glands? First salivary glands, which are found in our mouth. Second pancreas, and third is liver. These are the associated glands with digestive system. Now our digestion starts from our mouth. Mouth is also called buccal cavity, and in the mouth saliva, which is secreted by the salivary glands, and is mixed with the food. And who will help in mixing this food? Of course our tongue will help in mixing the food, and teeth will help to chew the food. In this manner the food digestion of food starts in our mouth. Now for understanding this, that here you can see in this activity 1, that for understanding this we will collect some saliva in a test tube, and we will add some food particle in it, and we will mix it well. And in another test tube we will take only some food particles, and in both these we will add the iodine drops. In first test tube we will observe that there is no color change in the iodine in that test tube of iodine, because iodine has a reddish brown color, and when starch is added to it, it will convert into blues black color. But it does not happen in that test tube in which saliva was added. In the another test tube only the starch material was there. Starch means like the food from obtained from like chapati grains and rice oats etc, potato also. These all food items contain starch material, so we can take any of it and we will add some drops of iodine drop on it, and we will observe that the color of iodine has been changed into bluish black. But while saliva is added to the same starch, there is no color change, because what is the function of saliva is here? Saliva convert starch into sugar, and this is the reason when you are eating only a bite of chapati, not adding any vegetable to it, and you will chew it properly, and after few seconds you will observe that the taste of that chapati has been changed into sweet. This is due to the enzyme present in the saliva, that is called amylase, which convert starch into sugar. Now, with the help of tongue, we can recognize the taste of the food. What is it? And this is called this structure which help in identifying or recognizing the taste of the food. These are called taste buds. And in my previous presentation, I have shown you the diagram of taste buds, that on the tip of the tongue the taste buds are found, which will recognize the sweet taste. On the sides of the tongue, sour and salty taste are recognized, and at the last of the tongue, at the end part of the tongue, bitter taste is recognized. And so in this manner different type of taste we recognize. Now the teeth. There are two types of sets of teeth: permanent teeth and milk teeth. Milk teeth, which are found in the early infants, they start growing after 6 to 8 months, and when the child has become 7 or 8 years old, up to that only these will occur, and after they will start falling down and permanent teeth will replace it. So these milk teeth are 20 in number, and these are deciduous teeth, so they will fall at the age of 6 to 7 years or 8 years age. After that permanent set of teeth will arise there, and these are 32 in number. Now to distinguish between these different types of teeth, we should observe this picture here. And in this table the difference between milk teeth and permanent teeth also given. You should read it properly and learn also. Now the different types of teeth. There are 4 types of teeth: canines, molars, premolars and incisors, as you can see in this picture. First we start from incisors. Incisors, the middle part of the set of the teeth. In each jaw there are 16 teeth, and in the middle there are 4 incisors in each jaw. And on the both side of these incisors, sharp canines are found. Incisors are cutting teeth. Canines are also known as tearing teeth, and these can tear the food items, and these are well developed in carnivores. After that, on both sides, two premolars are found, and on the side of three molars are found. In this manner, the set of teeth is found, and molars and premolars help the food to grind it well. Now, how you should care the teeth and why you should care the teeth. You should brush your teeth twice a day. Before and after taking food, you should clean your mouth properly, rinse it also, and we should at least once in 6 months we should go to dentist for cleaning our teeth. Now, what happen if we are not cleaning our teeth properly? Cavities can occur, of course, tooth decay. So, tooth decay is a type of problematic thing which occur in our teeth, and how it occur if we are not cleaning our teeth properly. Some food particles will enter in our mouth and they will be left inside between the places found in our teeth, and if this leftover food will develop some bacteria in it, because bacteria are already present in our mouth, and when they will get such a type of conditions, food particles are available there, and these are present in our mouth for long time. So the bacteria will develop and they will produce acid, and this acid can cause damage to the outermost hard layer of enamel, and the structure of the tooth was already discussed by me in my presentation. You have to watch it again. And this hardest part, that is called enamel of the body, it is damaged by that acid, and this damaging can go up to the pulp part of the tooth, and this causes tooth decay, and you will feel severe pain also, and sometimes we have to go to dentist to take out that tooth from our mouth. So tooth decay is a very problematic thing. Now, esophagus. Now the food from the mouth, from the mouth, when saliva will mix in it, it will be slippery and easy to slide down in our this food pipe. So here this food will go now into our esophagus in the form of bolus, and in the esophagus a special type of movement is observed, that is called peristalsis. Peristalsis means the muscular contraction and relaxation of the walls of the esophagus. When the food will enter in the esophagus, that part will be swollen, and when it go in forward direction, the back part will again constrict. In this manner, peristalsis occur. Now, from the esophagus, the food will reach to stomach, and you know that gastric juice is digested there. Gastric juice is secreted there, and it will help in the digestion of food. It will help in destroying the germs present in the food, and one important process occur in the stomach, that is called churning. So this process of churning will help in mixing well of the food with gastric juice, and the digestion of the different type of nutrients occur in it, like protein. Mostly protein is digested, carbohydrates also digested in this part of the digestive canal. Now from this stomach, the food will start entering into the small intestine, and here you can see in this picture duodenum word is written. This is the starting point of the small intestine, and here the digestive juices from pancreas and liver also mixed. From pancreas, pancreatic juice will mixed, and from liver, bile juice will mixed here, and this will mix well. Bile juice will digest the fat, and pancreatic juice will digest the protein and carbohydrate and some part of fat also. After the completion of the digestion in small intestine, absorption of the food will occur with the help of small finger-like projections known as villi. These are found in the inner wall of the small intestine. And this after absorption, this will food will go in the form of glucose into our blood, and assimilation, that means utilization of the food, will occur there. Now the undigested food will go into large intestine. No digestion occur in large intestine, only reabsorption of the water will occur here, and after that the undigested food will through the go into the rectum, and in rectum it will get collected, and after that it will excreted out. This is called defecation also. Now here you can see the picture of a ruminant organism, and earlier in my PPT I gave you the picture of the digestive system of cow, which is also ruminant. That means all grass eating animals are known as ruminants, and in these ruminants a special feature is found that their stomach is divided into 4 parts. The name of the 4 parts are given as in this page: rumen, reticulum, omasum and abomasum. Rumen is the largest part of the stomach. First, when this grass eating organism will eat the food, and it will not only it will not chew the food properly, and half chewed food will be swallowed with fast speed. It will go into the rumen, and in rumen second step of the food will occur, where what will happen, some bacteria are found which will digest the cellulose. You know that the cellulose is only found in plant cells, and it is found in the cell wall of the plant cells, and it is not digested by human digestive system. It is only can be digested with the help of digestive system of ruminants, and this process occur in rumen of the ruminants. That's why these are called ruminants, because the process of rumination occur. And what is rumination? Here this partially chewed food will be taken to the rumen, and these bacteria, special bacteria, will digest that cellulose, and now this food will again go into the mouth of the food, and now it is called cud. This partially digested, partially chewed food is called cud, C-U-D, cud, and this food will be well chewed now again in the mouth, and now it will go into the second chamber of the stomach, and after that into third and fourth chamber, and then a normal process of digestion occur in the digestive tract. In this manner, in ruminants this process occur, that is called rumination, and that's why these are called ruminants. Now nutrition process in amoeba, as you are seeing in this picture. You know that amoeba is a unicellular organism with the help of only single cell. It will perform all type of processes, life processes related with its body. So here nutrition also occur with this single cell only, but a special structure known as pseudopodia will help in this process. As you can see in this picture, different type of projections are seen here. These projections can occur in any direction in its body, and these will help to capture the food or prey, and these pseudopodia will make a circle around it, and this food will convert into food vacuole inside its body. It will be it will be drawn inside its body and will get digested in its body. After digestion, the nutrients will be absorbed in the cytoplasm of the amoeba cell, and the remaining undigested food will go near the wall of the near the cell membrane, and the cell membrane will burst there, and the food will be expelled out. In this manner, the process of nutrition occur in this manner. The digestion process of whole nutrition occur in animals. You have to not only read this chapter, but also you have to see my PPT again, so that all doubts will be clear.